You've tuned in to chipsgrooveradio with your hosts, Mike and John. Are you a big sandbox guy, sandbox video game guy, or do you prefer more of a narrative?
It's a funny you ask. I have played a lot of sandboxes, and in my mind, I feel like I am a sandbox guy.
Yeah.
However, the record shows that I don't finish them. I get bored of them, and like the new Breath of the Wild. I was like, oh yeah, Zelda. I love Zelda. And I bought it and I played it for like maybe 2 hours. And I haven't picked it up since. And I just
dun, dun, dun.
I don't know. I know, but it's my fault. It's not anything. It's not, the game is great. Right. It's me. I have AD. I must have ADHD. I just can't like sit and play.
You know what? I understand it. I'm a big fan of narratives myself. I do like open world sandbox games a lot, but at the same time, I don't know if this is because I'm just getting older or what, but the appeal for big sandbox games is definitely waning for me, just because
it's such a time sink.
Yeah. There are a huge portion of video games that, for some reason, the industry has moved towards the idea that more is more. This new business model where every game has got to be
big as possible.
200 hours. There's going to be DLC. Why are you doing anything else but playing this game?
Right.
So I'm done with that, honestly. I am excited to play Tears of the Kingdom. I did buy it. My stepson started it. He's having a blast. It looks amazing.
It looks really good. The funny thing is, though, I saw a lot of the gifs of people building crap in it.
I haven't looked much up.
Well, I'm sure it's wicked fun, but just for me, it was all these these gifs of people like building these little cars or whatever, because you like stick stuff together and make machines or whatever. And I'm like, that is not for me nowadays. Like, that does not totally turn me off from playing the game.
Gotcha.
At least Breath of the Wild, I could it's Zelda, it's cool, it's beautiful game, it's open world. I can play this game. This is gonna be great, and then I just don't play it. The Tears of the Kingdom, I saw those building montages or whatever.
Oh boy!
And I was like, this is not. I'm not gonna buy this game.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up myself. I want to start it. It's on my list. It's just, again, it's another huge time sink. So I've got quite the slate, and I had forgotten. Well, actually, I hadn't forgotten when they finally announced the release date for Tears of the Kingdom. I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me!" Because my June is jam packed.
Yeah,
I've got Diablo 4 coming out and Final Fantasy 16. I'm already working on Octopath Traveler 2, which is another JRPG. I'm like, I have to finish this before June. And then they come out with the Zelda release date. I'm like, you motherfucker. So I told myself this is going to have to be a Christmas time thing, because I don't think I'm ever going to revisit to it. Yeah.
Remember when you were a kid and you just stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning, had no responsibility?
You know what? Every weekend I'm like, maybe I'll stay up on Friday night and I'll play my game till 3 in the morning. Sleep by 10.
I'm so tired.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Who am I?
What's happened to me?
It's terrible. Oh well. It's gonna be exciting. Zelda always holds a place in my heart. Do you have an in-depth history with Zelda at all, or?
You know what? I played all of the games up until Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
I briefly played Wind Waker, but I never had a GameCube. So
it sounds like my life. I played everything up until Ocarina, and then I never had a 64 until well after it was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds like me too.
Yeah, and I never played Majora's Mask. So yeah, I played the hell out of all of them. Even I played Zelda 2 back on the NES. Mm-hmm. The side scroller weirdo game. My aunt had that, and I would go over her house and play it.
Underrated, I would say.
Yeah,
it's not.
You
bad.
know, we're talking about the music of Link to the Past. Mm-hmm. I almost wanted to bring up I wanted to review the Link Zelda 2 music because that music's pretty dope for an NES game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, we can do that sometime.
But anyways, we're talking about Link.
We're talking A Link to the Past. How dare you mention another game that's?
I'm so sorry.
For this game, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, it is composed by the original game's composer, Koji Kondo. He's a composer I don't think anyone listening to this podcast doesn't know. Mm-hmm. So he's worked his storied career at Nintendo composing all the hit themes for a lot of their IPs, including Mario, Zelda, Punch-Out, countless others. It is no surprise that he has gained worldwide recognition simply for his work on Super Mario and Zelda alone, I would say. Those are probably his most well-known stuff.
Yeah, the original Zelda had some awesome music for NES. Mm-hmm. There's just a classic. Using the entire breadth of what you can do on the sound chip for an NES game.
Yeah. He displays a lot of that talent that really captures, I think, the heart of the characters, especially back in the 80s when video games were just kind of video games. They weren't these massive productions. I think he worked in his little charm into these games, and they have become probably the most, I would guess, the most memorable and recognized pieces of video game music of all time.
Oh, 100%.
Just those two.
I mean, every single song in Link to the Past album just is an immediate transportation back to whatever zone that music is from. It's just instantly memorable, and like every song is a hit right out of the gate. So it's just so easy to have that sense memory of being 10 years old or whatever and playing the hell out of Link to the Past.
Oh yeah, I have a decent relationship with this game. This is, I shouldn't say decent. I fucking love this game, but it was my baby when it came out back in '92, and I often rented it early on, and then sometime in '93 or so, I asked my mom if we could buy it, and we spent a complete day going from store to store, tech department to tech department, and looking for this thing, because at that point it was a year or so old, and I wasn't even sure if they'd have it. But
did you check the EB Games? Did you check?
We checked everything. Finally, I shit you not, we found it in this local furniture/TV store that had this small computer game section. Yeah, sure enough, we got it there. I was so funny. Fucking exciting. But
back in the day when you had those weirdo little stores that had computer games, video games, whatever.
We've got something for everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the listeners, I did want to give a brief rundown of A Link to the Past. In this game, it is technically a prequel to the original 2 NES Zeldas. Ganon has been imprisoned in the Sacred Realm. He had collected the 3 pieces of the Triforce, and his darkest wishes came true to disfigure the realm into what we now know as the Dark World. Our hero Link goes on a journey to save Princess Zelda from Hyrule Castle, where the evil wizard Aghanim has trapped her while he attempts to set Ganon free. As Link gathers pendants to release the Master Sword and save the kingdom, Aghanim does the unthinkable and sends our princess into the Dark World. It's a world of incredible ferocity, strife, and evil in the kingdom of Hyrule. The world is very similar to the one we start in, but it's now decayed, pathways are different, the inhabitants are much less friendly, and all around, the kingdom is very, very dangerous. This happens about a third of the way through the game, and as players, our minds were pretty much blown. You spend the rest of your time navigating both the light and dark worlds in order to rescue 7 maidens, seal Ganon away forever, and bring peace and stability back to your world. It is quite the adventure, sir.
It was one of a kind.
Yeah.
The fact that you had these two worlds that mirrored each other, you would have to jump back and forth for puzzles. Something, we talked about Super Metroid and how that was such a sprawling game. But to have the idea of having these two worlds, and also the fact that Link to the Past, even the light world is a sprawling world with all of these dungeons. The overworld map is huge.
We had no idea this was coming. It was
and then just to get dumped into this dark world where everything is terrible and awful was a feat.
Yeah, it turns the game on its head, and you are basically given a brand new map that is very, very similar to the one you were just on, but everything is different, and everything
a little different.
Yeah, it's just a wonder, and I have to say this probably set the standard for video games doing this kind of thing, like the dark world of what you've already been playing. A lot of games use this kind of trope now, but yeah.
And I mean, getting into the music of it, the fact that you have such a storied composer composing it, everything that is in Light World feels like the Light World. It feels orderly and almost heroic, adventurous. There's a lot of adventurous feeling in the Light World where you want to get out there, you want to get into the forest and find out find the Master Sword. And then everything in the Dark World is militaristic, dark, very, very sinister. There's creeps around every corner. It does such a great job of as soon as you're in the Dark World, the first time Dark Golden Land plays, as you enter, it just takes you away.
Absolutely. There's definitely a depth to this, despite the cute aesthetics. The graphics are adorable, and it's a typical Zelda game. There's a seriousness that contrasted the vibrant world we were roaming around in, and the soundtrack covers a spectrum from light and goofy to hostile and foreboding. I would say there's just he's mastered the palette. I kind of want to say he knows what he wants to put forward, and he puts it forward. As you stated, the light world feels a little bit more adventurous and playful, maybe even whimsical. The dark world changes things a lot, and even the dungeon themes get very, very disturbing. And the overworld theme for the dark world is it's like this weird mishmashy version of the Legend of Zelda theme, the Hyrule montage or whatever. It's so great.
Yeah, and I think the song for me that really encompasses the sinister nature is Black Mist. It's probably my favorite Dark World track. It just shows off that militaristic nature, kind of evil military of Ganon's forces, and it has that little hint of hopeful interlude, a little bit of Link in there, which kind of shows. Kind of lets you self-insert into the song, but it doesn't really last that long before you're back into the sinister minor key of it. It just shows off that kind of that evil world vibe that you get in the Dark World.
Yeah, I believe that's on the Death Mountain, especially in the Dark World, and they reuse it in the Lost Woods, which is terrifying. That's two of the most dangerous places on the map.
I love the mountains because it just feels like you're in some Cthulhu-esque like high mountain. You're not supposed to be here. some ancient evil is lurking.
Yeah.
And, you see the stars below you. It's just kind of maddening.
Yeah, there's a lot of lightning going on, a lot of foreboding creatures shooting fireballs at you. It's a menacing place in a giant glowing tower that you're trying to break into.
Yeah,
it's a good time. But I think for me, even the score in the opening sequence, the backstory, Sealing of the Seven Maidens, before you even start the game, there's just such a powerful message of darkness and desperation to the story, because they're definitely narrating the story and letting you know the backstory to what you're about to be playing. And there's just a lot of tragedy in the strings, and it was really nothing I had ever heard in a video game. At that time, 1992, I certainly had soundtracks I really liked, and I'd heard plenty. But this had a much more diverse set of songs to it, and the sincerity and desperation of this opening track really sets the tone for the game.
Yeah, it's incredible how wide of a breadth that this soundtrack covers for an SNES game back in '92.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the beginning of the adventure has that tragic, the beginning of the journey and the Seal of the Seven Maidens are all very kind of sad songs, and then you get into Time of Falling Rain, which is just incredibly desperate. It's so tense. You feel like you're running out of time. That just sets up the kind of wide adventure, and it kind of gives you that purpose into going, adventuring through Hyrule and finding the pendants and finding the Master Sword. Like, you have that drive after you are front loaded with all this tragedy. Like it's your uncle, right?
Yeah,
that goes in and he gets struck down, and you have to carry his sword. It's all just front loaded, and it opens your mind to the rest of the game. It kind of gives you that reason to continue.
Mm-hmm. And I like how they reuse the same initial melody from the narration backstory to go into the Time of the Falling Rain. It's like it's all tied together in that sense, where there's desperation as to what happened in the past, and it's somehow linked to what's happening right now. But they take it a different direction while you're heading through Hyrule Castle, and that's cool.
Yeah, and I think it also has these lovely little pinpoints of brevity and lightness. Like you have the fortune teller in the Kakariko village. You have the silly pink rabbit. You have all these tracks that are very like light and happy and very kind of gives you like a okay, I can relax and,
absolutely,
take a breather.
Yeah, not everything is grandiose or dark. Those are not the only weapons in Kondo's arsenal. Another mainstay of the series premiered is Kakariko Village. First of all, let me just say many tracks on this first appeared in this game and have since been used repeatedly in new games. So this is like the pinnacle of of his songs. They have been remixing and remastering them for other Zelda games since then. But yeah, Kakariko Village is one of them, and it's just subtle, playful, and innocent amongst all these other majestic, adventurous, foreboding tunes. This one's just, you can relax to it. There's peaceful inhabitants here. There's really no danger, save for a couple guards that you might run into.
Some chickens.
Yeah, some chickens that you can pick up and pick on. The song really wafts in and out of lullaby status as the strings just soothe your ears, and accompanied with accenting bells for the latter half of each measure. It could easily put you to sleep, but it's a very cool tune.
Yeah, I just love the breath of fresh air that you get, and it gives you that opportunity to discover what is, talk to all the people in Kakariko Village. It gives you kind of the permission to slow down in the game. Yeah,
definitely.
Whereas like you feel like the overworld themes and some of the other themes are action oriented, moving. Kakariko is okay. Just take a break. Go through some shops, talk to some people. Yeah. Just kind of hang out.
I would spend a weird amount of time in this village just dicking around, just playing around, checking my map. It's an enjoyable place to be. And it easily gives you that sense of safety. It's just by the music. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about the different aspects of the album. And one that I wanted to mention is the majesty and power from Hyrule Castle. Yeah. This is a different tone, I think, than almost anything else on the album, just because it is incredibly loud. There's a loud crash, low horns. The majesty of the Legend of Zelda is captured here. And a lot of people would attribute, obviously, the overworld theme to being, the Legend of Zelda theme. But the Hyrule Castle theme is interesting to me because it was once a friendly place and now it's not. Our adventure starts and we go into it. It's overrun with bad guys, evil soldiers, and Kondo's crescendo towards the end of this particular track really makes it clear that the danger is real. And then when those horns really come blaring at the end with the percussion hitting those triplets, it just gets fierce and even more imposing. And I think his usage of horns definitely casts that regal shadow in this track and in the overworld theme. He uses it in both, but right here it feels extremely dangerous.
Yeah, you have that a little bit of that militaristic theme that you get from Dark Golden Land carried into that regalness, but it's like it's wrong somehow. Like you have that. If this song was a bit more in a major key and it didn't have those spots where it kind of went up, half an octave, and it gave that sinister feel to it, you would almost think this was like a happy regal, like we're gonna go see the king type thing. But with that kind of sliding synthesizer and the trumpets, it does give that very sinister. This is where everything has gone wrong, and it is the beginning of your adventure, and it's the time when you are the most weak to everybody around you.
Yeah, you're extremely vulnerable.
You're the most vulnerable you'll ever be in this game. So it's a very, the best thing about Link to the Past is that from all of the beginning of the game, it just is an immediate entrance into the world. There's no dawdling. There's no There's no long diatribes. There's no like, you have to listen to this guy go on about his, evil plans for
Right.
20 minutes. It is action. It is, you get in there, your uncle went in to rescue somebody. He failed, and now you have to take up the sword, and you can't fail.
Yeah. And there's no learning curve either. You just dive right into the action.
Right.
Not that there's a lot to it, but
no, yeah. I mean, I love the action and Link to the Past. It's such a fun game to play.
Yeah. And they pepper in those cute moments too. Even during the franticness, you can knock the soldiers off the edge and they'll skitter for a little bit and fall. That's pretty funny. But yeah, and then I wanted to say that you are the weakest you'll ever be in here, like we just said. But then when you come back to fight Aghanim, a third of the way through the game, you've got the Master Sword. You've got plenty of health, hopefully.
Yeah.
And a small arsenal of things in your
inventory. A
small inventory of things to use. And they still manage to make Hyrule Castle dangerous again, even more dangerous. Right. So it's balanced out. So yeah, this place is never friendly to you, but he captures that very well.
They do have that GM Fiat thing where Aghanim gets what he wants no matter what you do. Yep. But it's all in service to the story, right?
Yeah. And then I really want to go back to the Dark World theme, the Golden Land.
Yeah.
This is easily my favorite track on the album. And not to conflate music with game, but this is the moment I got shivers when first playing the game. You've just faced off against Aghanim. He's zapped an unconscious Zelda here. He's taken her to this new realm. You defeat him in battle, and he casts this spell and sends you spiraling into the Dark World. It's just your mind is blown and the game just blows up, and you've got this theme. Like I said before, it's a little bit of a remix in ways to the overworld of the Light World. It utilizes that brass still. The song takes a lower end of the sound spectrum. Tubas provide the bass. Longing strings cast out a melody that almost mimics the Light World theme in just a treacherous rendition. It's not a complete remix, but it's close. And
it's as if they corrupted the song, and twisted it.
Yeah, Kondo's telling players that they have no idea what to expect here, and visually the world is vastly different than what we've ever seen. There are skulls everywhere, darkness, lightning storms. The sadness, bleak existence, and cutthroat inhabitants of this world are given life with this oddly beautiful song. I just love this song.
It is so great that it gives you similar to Black Mist, where you have that little bit of militaristic feel to it, but it is a very sorrowful and sad song.
Very much so.
You're you feel alone. You feel like you are sent here and you don't have enough tools. You don't have enough knowledge to even understand what to do. And you've lost the person that you tried to rescue. It is just exceedingly desperate and sorrowful. And you're just kind of hanging your head and trying to find your way. It's a great great track.
And this is probably one thing that draws me to the soundtrack, is that it feels different almost every other Zelda. And that may be overblowing it. That may be just nostalgia, but there's a seriousness to this album that I feel is very different than one, the first two games, and then two, every other game since then. And that's not to say they're not serious and they don't take themselves seriously, but there's just a different palette, I think, that he was using here when you compare it to other games, other Zelda
there's
games.
There's a lot more of an edge to this game than there is to something like Ocarina of Time or the original Zelda, because it does feel like there's more at stake in Link to the Past than any other. Like you play Ocarina of Time, and it almost feels inevitable that you will win. But maybe in Link to the Past, when you first experience it, you're a kid or whatever, you beat the wizard and you get sent to the Dark World. It feels like, I could lose and not win. It kind of fills you with that serious nature of the world that you're in. It's totally different tonally than any other game. Parts of it are very similar. Like you said, the Kakariko village gets reused, and a lot of the light world themes sound maybe a bit similar to other games in the series, but the dark world themes all are pretty unique, and it would be nice if some of that came back to Zelda, I think.
Yeah.
You have a bit of that edge.
They did bring back this theme, the dark world theme. I noticed it. I was one of the few people who bought a Wii U back when it came out, and they gave you this collection of mini games with it, and there was Link's Adventure, some sort of bow shooting game where it was like on rails and you had to kill all the guys with a bow and arrow. But they used this overworld theme for the Dark World a little bit remixed. So that was nice to hear. I picked up on that immediately. I was like, all right, here we go. But but I definitely agree. They need to bring some of this edge back. And I was very impressed with Breath of the Wild, and there is a lot of edge to that game, but it's a different beast completely. Yeah.
I never played Majora's Mask. I didn't know if that also had a light world, dark world mechanic in that.
It has a very strong time mechanic. I played it on 3DS when they re-released it. I want to say they do. There is some sort of... Oh, the Zelda fans are tuning out right now because I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I can't remember. I've only played through it once, but it was a fun time. I think the thing with that game was you had a certain amount of time to get the game finished, but you had to kind of fuck with the time in order to go back in time, fix it, go back, fix it, go back, fix it. Yeah. So it was a puzzle of a game to figure out, but it was pretty cool. Now, some people may be wondering if there's much battle music in this game. The answer is yes. There are a few tracks dedicated to battles. One for the soldiers of Kakariko Village that I mentioned briefly. Basically, they're called when a townsperson sees you and mistakenly thinks you're a criminal because the bad guys have posted your picture all over the place. There's one for the general bosses of the game and one for the fight with Ganon. The Soldiers of Kakariko is more or less just a hurried melody. Not much to it. It exemplifies a tight situation, fight or flight mentality. As for the main boss theme, it's simple as well, but for me, it's extremely memorable because it's one of the most intense songs on the album. And it's just a fantastic demonstration of something you and I have talked about. Boss music. It's rushed, fast, and rumbling snare drums while horns are just blaring their progressively intense tune. It does what it needs to do. It keeps you thinking fast and on your toes, but you're also nervous as hell because if you're playing the game for the first time, you don't want to make mistakes, and this song will give you that nervousness, I think. It definitely is a nervy song. As soon as you hear it come in, you're like, oh shit, it's on. It's a very fun song to listen to. It's great boss music. Yeah. Where Kondo really shines in the battle department is the fight with Ganon. It is a much more sinister and subdued track, very bass heavy. It culminates in a finality that the song needs. It showcases his prowess with power, darkness, and urgency with a very steady beat, flat notes, and even an arpeggiated scale. It's a great capture of the battle with Ganon. He's a monstrous thief and master of the Dark World, kidnapper of Zelda and all the other maidens. So Kondo uses this bass to drive the song in a complex backbone, while horns provide that main theme with a simple 1-2 melody.
It has a lot of that chaotic nature to it. The horn is kind of jumping up and down, playing a lot of minor notes as well to give you that sinister feel. It has that hurriedness to it beyond just the bass that kind of drives you along, but it's not as tense as perhaps the other boss music is.
Yeah, the original boss music is very stingy, very loud and in your face, but this one's quieter.
Kind of gives you a chance to take in the full fight, and I mean it's a harder fight than I think any of the fights in Zelda and Link to the Past. So it has that. It does have gives you a great backdrop of you're fighting a real villain. Yeah, everything's on the line for it.
Yeah, and it's also another example of what I was telling you again about during our Metroid coverage. It's that reward. It has the complete feeling of this is it. When we hear the song, we know by the tone that we've made it.
Yeah,
we're closing the game off. We've made it. Are we going to choke or are we going to beat Ganon? So I've always loved that as a kid, and even as an adult, when you get there, when you've put the work in and made your journey, you know when the boss music starts that you've made it. So that's always fun for me. Oh, yeah. I think to finish the game off, we just got the ending theme, and it is just a beautifully arranged piece that takes the player on a journey through Hyrule and beyond, I would say. It's a beautiful fanfare that opens the track with loud cymbal crashes, victorious horns, and settles into this staccato string section as the violins play a soft and inquisitive melody. It's very reminiscent and contemplative of the adventure you just had, and rightfully so. As it plays, we're treated to scenes throughout the kingdom of generally happy citizens. All these wrongs have been righted and peace is restored to the land. There are multiple different sections. At times the song does get a little bit more playful. It enters the mysterious forest and gets wistful atop Death Mountain. As the song enters its second phase, the fanfare comes back, Link has returned the Master Sword, and the world is safe for now. But then the whole thing shifts into my part, the part I fucking love. It's simply the credits, silhouetted landscape scrolling by. You see the three pieces of the Triforce just twirling about, and this soft melody that remixes the main Zelda theme plays along. It's extremely solemn and beautiful. The song really single-handedly puts a serious tone. All the danger, all the fear, all the triumph. It's given one last hurrah set against this scrolling landscape as the skies change from red to yellow to blue. Obviously a rising sun is implied here, but to me it almost demonstrates that fight between good and evil. Evil at first, struggle, and then serenity. So As the song plays on, it revisits the overworld theme and gradually gets more and more involved as a poppy snare claps away its beat and the strings get more intense. And then to end it out, all the instruments come in and sustain. It's a really beautiful tune.
Yeah, it really does give you that reward at the end of the game to see all of the good deeds that you've done as Link. And it is very emotional. It's a very emotional song. It's tough not to be moved by this game, even as a kid, to playing through it and beating Ganon and then getting this kind of retrospective of what you've done, how you've helped these people, how you've righted all the wrongs or as many wrongs as you could, besides all the pottery that you've broken.
Shit ton of pottery broken.
Lots of pottery. And you're greeted, like you said, with this beautiful track that lays it all out in a very serious way.
Yeah. To put it simply,
that's great.
I agree with everything you just said. First of all, how often, if everyone just take a moment and just ask yourself how often you stay tuned while the credits are scrolling. I was 7 when this came out, and I stayed tuned every time I beat the game. Yeah. I'm not even kidding when I say that. I would crank the volume up and just listen to it. It is a wonderful song. Yeah,
there needs to be more credit songs that really help
keep you stick around.
Celebrate.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think for a game that came out in 1992, it had a lot to live up to. The first 2 Zeldas, well, the first one at least, was received very well.
Right. And the music of it was received
absolutely
well too.
And again, I do want to state that The Adventure of Link is an underrated side-scrolling game. I think the naysayers, at least at the time, I think it's getting more love now, but the naysayers at the time were probably put off at just how different it was.
Yeah.
And we encountered that a lot. I noticed a trend a long time ago that the second game in prominent series were very, very different. Mario 2, extremely different from Mario 1. Zelda 2, Contra 2. They incorporated elements that were very different from what we were used to. And so I give it a pass.
It's almost too bad that doesn't happen anymore. It seems like nowadays the second game of a series is just a carbon copy with a new map.
Yeah. So they definitely took their chances on Zelda 2, and for what it's worth, it wasn't received as well as it should have been. And then they came back to A Link to the Past. Top down will always be my favorite Zelda format. Yeah. I love what they're doing with it now, but at the same time, I just want them to come out with another one like this.
Yeah, give me a little bit of isometric Zelda.
Yeah. Please. The jump from NES to SNES was huge in terms of sound quality and capabilities, as we all know, and Kondo used that to his great advantage. This soundtrack holds such a place in my heart. Just listening to it for this podcast, it just transports me back to my parents' house on a summer day. Dark clouds, rain, it's humid, but I was in heaven. Firstly, because the dark clouds and storms, that's my fucking jam. I'm a big storm guy, but it was also the perfect backdrop for this game for some reason, to me. A gentle breeze blowing outside while the darkness sets in. I'm roaming around the dark world, and all these fantastical beasts and frightening locales are around me. It resonated deeply with me then, and with that dark world theme behind it all, it was just an experience that I'll never forget. It's something I'll always carry with me, and I couldn't be more grateful for this game. Yeah, I just wanted to say that because this is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, for a for the console side of my my gaming career, I would have to say Link to the Past is one of my favorites of all time. It had that special place where you just sat down and played it for hours, and you replayed it. It was always fun. It was always an adventure, and Yeah, there was really nothing like it on the SNES.
Yeah. I have recently rediscovered, I've never played it. I heard about it some years ago. Fairly new, but they call it the randomizer. Have you heard of this?
No.
Oh, it is a blast. These programmers who took the source file for this game, they put this randomizer element on it, and you can create ROMs that you can then play where all the items are moved. And you can set these rules for yourself. Like you have to collect only 3 crystals or something and then defeat Ganon, but you have to find everything. Or you can play it in a linear fashion, or you can play it like an open world, completely open. Mm-hmm. You just have to find everything. It's kicking my ass, but it is so fun because it just gives this game even more life than it already had. So
yeah, I can imagine, now you're diving through every single cavern trying to figure out where the hell everything is.
And I'm like racking my brain every time I'm playing it because I'm like, okay, there's obviously something I'm missing. Where the fuck was this other chest or something? Yeah. So it's a blast. I highly recommend it to anyone listening because it will take you down memory lane and give this game some life, in our 30 years prior or 30 years after its release or whatever.
Right.
So they did release a soundtrack collection some time ago. I'm going to take this from Wikipedia. A soundtrack to Kamigami no Triforce entitled The Legend of Zelda Sound and Drama was released by Sony Records in Japan on June 22nd, 1994. The first disc is 44 minutes long and features rearranged versions of a selection of the game's themes, along with a bonus track. The second disc features 54 minutes of the original arrangements for the game and those of the original NES game. There is no other official release that I can find.
Thanks, Nintendo.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot own this on vinyl just yet. But that being said, Internet Archives and plenty of other places stream it. You can listen to it fairly easily. And if you really want to support Kondo, I would just recommend just buy the games he's worked on. He deserves it. He's given so many of us so much happiness in our times, especially early on in video games. And I couldn't point you in a direction to buy anything specific from him. I did look, but everyone knows this guy. He's a marvel and just a national treasure for Japan, for Nintendo 100%. And video games. So much respect to him. That is our review of A Link to the Past. I had a good time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, what would you rate this, sir?
I would have to give it 10 angry chickens out of 10.
I'm going to give it 10 hook shots out of 10. Best item ever.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, we will see you guys next week.
Keep adventuring.
Keep adventuring. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Also, check out Magus Media's other podcast, This Is Not Happening, Another X-Files podcast for complete episode breakdowns, insightful banter, and inane babble. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Well, hello there, Internet people. My name is Josh, and I am one of the hosts of the Nastagram RPG podcast. We're an actual play podcast, and we're good. And why are we good? Well, let's let the other host tell you. Dan.
Hey, everyone. If you like authentic, real-world sound effects, our lasers go pew-pew.
I love it. Matt.
Skip me. Coming back to Matt.
Ryan.
Okay, so after 2 decades of trying, we finally mastered the 3.5 grapple. We did.
Try again.
Scratch that.
Check it out. Look it up.
John?
If you're looking for a RPG podcast that plays a whole hell of a lot of games, you like to spice of life.
Spice it up.
Spice it up.
Matt, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. If you enjoy bad accents and overacting, you'll enjoy our podcast.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And Jake, bring us home.
I like to just say we didn't just throw a phone on the table and hit record. Like, Josh does a damn good job with the editing. And
Facts.
if you care about that, you will not be disappointed.
That's right. We spent a bunch of money that we don't make on the podcast.
100%.
So check us out, Nastagram RPG Podcast. You can find us on all the goddamn podcast apps, and we'll see you there.
That's nasty.